CC1. You have to have your own security agreement. There are security agreements, and they're in the book. There's a security agreement in the book, and you can use that one or just make your own. The best one I ever saw, that one's about 14 pages, I think. It's 7 or 8 pages anyway. And it has a whole lot of terms, you know, and all this. And I think sometimes we get carried away with trying to make people think we're smart because we write so much. But the best one I ever saw was a 1-page deal. And it simply secured everything you had, this security agreement. And so you can make your own. Just call it a security agreement, and I claim all of this, that anything with the name, with my straw man's name on it, belongs to me. I have a claim against it. And that's really all you have to have. But you title it security agreement. Now that makes it a security agreement. It's not what's in the security agreement that makes it that. Now you're going to let somebody else tell you what you can write in your own security agreement. Are y'all catching on to that if you write it, nobody else can write back to you. If you put that security agreement, what you wrote was something you sent to them, and you sent it back, and they sent it back and they said, we're not going to accept this, this, and this. Why would you let them decide that security agreement's not any good? It's not any good to them for what reason? It's clobbering them. The only reason they send back to you and tell you what you did is crazy. Why do attorneys say, this paperwork is crazy, makes no sense? Why? They can't do anything with it. So why wouldn't they tell you that? So why wouldn't you write back to them and say, okay, I'll accept that as true. Now I'm going to return it to you. Do you see how it's going to drive them nuts? It's like playing the game why. Can a bond be used to pay student loans? Yes. Anybody that wants a security agreement? The guinea pig is over here.
Also known as Brenda.
Her name is Brenda, and she's a good guinea pig. She's been through everything, let me tell you. If myself received a summons, what should I do next? Anytime you receive a summons, you can do it 2 or 3 different ways. I used to just take them and write across them, I don't know who you are. I didn't write to you. You've got to be a third-party debt collector trying to get involved in my commercial affairs. I'm hereby returning it to you, and you're hereby fired from having anything to do with and this is before we got this other. Now what you need to do is use this and send this back with it. You just simply tell them I'm going to accept it and return it to you for closure in this matter. Because they'll simply, it's by what you say to them about the summons is what makes the summons. We've been through this with the federal about them trying to summon people in for income tax, wanting all their books and all that. And we do that, and they have never got anybody. They can't do anything with it. You're foreign agents, and you call them what they are. They're not a part of your government. They're not even a part of the United States government. Your government is we the people. How in the world they get into your venue and jurisdiction? And so that's all we did to them and sent it back to them, and they have never got anyone yet. Do 1041s have to be sent to Utah to be effective? No. Send them to whoever you usually send in your tax statements to. If you send them to Austin, if you send them to Dallas, send those 1041s anywhere, wherever's the closest one to you. Let them figure out where it goes. May I tell them about your seminar in Lake Jackson, Richard? Yeah, I guess so.
Life is going to have a seminar near Lake Jackson on the 21st of this month. It's it's at the mainstay in Suites. You know anybody there, you can follow Highway 288, you get into, I think, Highway 308, but it's 1003, Highway 308 or 288. It starts at 9 o'clock in the morning at the mainstay Suite, and Rice is giving a seminar from 9 a.m. till it's on a Saturday.
Okay. It'll be on Saturday the 21st. It's in Lake Jackson, Texas.
Near Lake Jackson.
Near Lake Jackson. And it's on the 21st. Houston. It's southwest of Houston. It's almost in the Gulf. It's very close to the Gulf. If Houston is sinking like they say, it may have sunk by the time we get there. So, in fact, they flooded today, so Houston may be gone. Is there anybody in here who has discharged a debt with a bond to a credit card company and still have an account with this company? If so, what company? Somebody here did it, and they said they cut their thing. That was you? Yeah, they cut it from 5,000 to 500.
All in the same way. They came back and then they gave you about a couple $100 left, and then next month you do the second bond, and there's a they didn't say, they didn't report it to the credit bureau, but just charge it to the attorney, and there's something that's left of it.
Well, all you do is when the way you handle that, you're the one that opened the account, aren't you?
Right.
They didn't open it, so they can't do away with it.
That's how the issue.
I'm saying is what you needed to respond to them when they come back and said that is, I accept your as true, and I'm going to return it to you for closure and discharge, and my account is still open. You see, you're the one that signed that contract. They didn't. They have worked themselves into a corner. It's just you're just now catching on. The more you get into this and the more you understand it's all about third parties, you're going to quit letting them tell you what to do. How can they write to you and tell you that you can't use that credit card? You're the one that signed it. Just write it back and say, where's your signature on this? Get out of my contract. Document of competency. After you get two witnesses to sign document and you sign, well, you sign first and put your seal on it. The seal can either be your thumbprint or it can be your initials. Just make your own seal up. The seal doesn't have to be a thing that's pressed on there, or if you do your thumbprint, just write true and certified thumbprint. Huh? Should be the red. Yeah. Black goes to death. Yeah, the red will make you alive.
What about blue?
Any color other than black. I don't know what green stands for, but green is different from black. All I know that you don't want to do a black because they always consider that's a dead signature. That's why they take you into what they do in the police station. Black.
Military does the same thing.
Yeah.
Do you write anything by the thumbprint?
You can if you want to. It's your. See here again. What do you want to do with it? See, it's your seal. What kind of seal you want to make out of it? Get creative and make your own little seal. And there's a difference in a SEAL little animal and a seal. You know. Huh? Well, you can say this is a true certified thumbprint. Yeah. Make up your own little statement to it. See, if everybody makes up something different, how many people do they have to deal with? As many people as in this room. If everybody makes it exactly the same, how many people they have to deal with? One. See? So, Is it okay to just make copies from that point on to send to people? Yeah, I would make a lot of them, but yeah, it's okay to make a copy. Always keep the original. Always keep you one original. And they have copiers now that'll copy the original just like it's, you know, an original. It'll have a blue. If you've signed it in blue, it'll sign it in blue. So, ma'am?
Oh, that was fine. I'm sorry.
Okay. I received my income tax 1040 back from the IRS. I was supposed to receive money back from the IRS. They are wanting the 1040 back in 20 days. Send them a 1041. Say, I made a mistake. Just right across there, made a mistake. I'm now going to send you the 1041. And this is how much money that my straw man made this year. He made $100,000. And my fiduciary, which is me, is going to take all of that in fiduciary fees. Now, I also paid some into the company, this much. Please send my check. And be sure you sign it with that, USC 28 something on there. And because you sign it under the penalty of perjury, and that takes the sting out of it. What is USC? It's in the book.
USC 28.
USC 28 something. See, the reason that 1041 is the way it is, you have to understand that is a trust document. They know that they set you up as a trust under the Social Security system. And if you do not call it a trust, though, you don't want to put up there that this is a trust. If you call it a trust, you now have to check one of those little boxes, and they have all kinds of rules and regulations that govern that trust. So simply write your all capital letter name up there, and then sign it as fiduciary or agent. And then put your Social Security number out there to the side, and use the first two numbers because a trust number is different than a regular Social Security number. Write your first two numbers and then the last 7. And then all you have to put on there is where it says income. Write down there how much income. Then you write fiduciary fees. It's the same as the amounts you earn. You don't owe any taxes. So at the bottom, if you happen to pay some in at the company, put that there. And then sign it under the USC 28 something and send it to them. And they are obligated to send you the money. Why? They have no rules and regulations to control that document you sent in. There's nothing they can base it. They'll try to get you to let them send you an EIN number. When they send you that document, they'll say, we received your 1041. We want to send you an EIN number. What do you say to them? Accepted as true in return for closure. I do not want an EIN number.
You say fiduciary fee, is that what you're saying?
Huh?
You mentioned fiduciary fee on 1041. Is that what you're paying them?
No. See, a fiduciary... Now you understand now why attorneys love to be the fiduciary of all trusts. They pay no taxes off what they earn off of a trust. So if you become the fiduciary, you can take it all. And if you've ever seen trusts that those attorneys write, they're going to get everything you got anyway if you're not careful. Because they write it in there and they say they're allowed to go into your bank account and everything else. Just what do you do with it? Accept it. Yeah. Yeah. Has anyone used the competency document on a traffic stop? No, not that I know of. So if you do it, you're breaking new ground. And I think you're going to stump them. I think it's just something that Once you send that in, send a copy in to the governor, to the transportation department, to the highway patrol, and then to the town you live in, to the police chief. See, and I think that when you present it, he always goes to his little phone and and looks all this stuff up, and I think he'll come back and tell you to go on. There's a man that was stopped in California, a little old man, and this cop says, show me your driver's license and your where you own this car. And so he just sat there, and the cop was the one that's telling it. He came to the meeting and he was telling what this guy did to him, and he said, I had to come to this meeting because I had to know what y'all were talking about. And he said after 3 times, the guy just reached over and got a little bitty piece of paper, and he handed it to the cop, and he said, I gave myself the right to drive. And that's all he said. And the cop went back to the thing, and it went through about 3 or 4 different, he said it went through 3 or 4 different channels, finally got to the head lieutenant. And he said, you tell Mr. So-and-so to have a good day and to go on his way. Why? Because he said, I'm a sovereign, I have the right to drive. That's all he said to him. And the policeman he came to the meeting in California, and he's the one that's telling me. What is the process to follow to release yourself from credit cards, loans, auto loans? Well, we've been going over it, and you use the bond, and now use this sovereignty issue. And I think that there's nothing they can do. Excuse me. Rice, excuse me. See, the volume goes down as I talk. Rice, my statement requires to
More time to write.
to what?
It would take too much time to write.
Oh, to ask me at the last question. Okay. Explain the power of recording a document with the county clerk with reference to the established in common law evidence of proof. They're really fighting filing any common law documents in the county record, and that's where the problem is coming. Is they are a statutory or a corporate county record, and they have told us that we need to open our own deal to record our own documents in the common law, on common law documents. And I know, and I've heard the argument, well, they're required to, under this, and this. And I think you can get them if you give them these documents showing them you're sovereign, and that they're fired, and you can probably make them do it. But you can do it either in that, or you can do it in the Republic of Texas, and we do it and put it up on the internet, and it's recorded just as well as theirs is. So,
Just a straight affidavit.
huh?
An affidavit that contractual company, some kind of business document. If you record that, does that make it common law evidence or evidence under?
No. The only time an affidavit is good, and people like to, throw affidavits out at people. The only time they're good is when you stand up in court and read them. An affidavit is no good just putting it into the court record, because you're not attesting, the real person has not attested to what that affidavit said.
Not valid as a document, affidavit of a business organization or a company created under common law, not a statutory entity, but a common law. If that affidavit of a business organization is recorded with the county clerk, doesn't that establish that entity as a common law entity more because it's been recorded with the county? That's what I'm saying. Does it give it more credence, more power?
I don't think it gives no document has any credence until you're called to testify about it. So it really doesn't matter.
The county clerk, somehow,
No. The county clerk's only recording what you're asking her to record. It still doesn't say anything until you need to use it.
That's my whole point. So if you had to use it to prove the company is in existence or is a valid entity, it's only going to argue whether this is a valid entity.
Yeah, it's only good though at that time you use it, and because the county recorded it, if you're into a fight with a legal fight, it does a lot of good. It is, but when you're just using it to try to establish something, it doesn't carry more weight until you use it. Every time you use it, it carries the weight.
Well, I just been told that people are going to challenge that entity as a valid entity. And I'm thinking...
Who's going to challenge it?
Well, I heard the IRS may challenge that entity as a valid entity. In North Carolina...
See, now you're getting into they.
A third party.
A third party. And how can they do that?
Well, I don't know how they can, I just heard that they were...
What do you say to them? I'm going to accept this from you and I'm going to return it. I don't want you in my affairs. You keep them out before they get started.
So you don't have to record that.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. No.
They won't give it anymore.
No. Does the IRS ever pay any attention much to anything? No. Except they can't get you. See, if you deny their jurisdiction from the beginning, they have nothing they can do.
Well, most lawyers are denying the existence of a common law business entity. Most lawyers don't want to hear it. They want to say if you don't have a corporation, a partnership, or a statutory...
But here again, see, you're taking their deal, and they're taking what they're saying to you, and they're establishing the law that you will follow if you adhere to it. And if you just tell them, I ain't adhering to it, what I state is the way it is. I'm going to fire you, you go out, you get out of here, you know. Don't ever let somebody else establish your law for you. If you write that document and you want it to mean that, it means that. And don't make any difference what anyone else says.
The Constitution says those states are right.
Constitution is, which Constitution?
Well, I'm talking about the one that they all quote.
Well, but there's no it's a corporate charter. And that can mean whatever they decide it means. See, this is why lawyers, they learn to argue. It's so they can take and argue any side of the issue. So if you keep them out as a third party, they can't argue anything.
So, well, you answered the question. It's irrelevant.
It's irrelevant, sure. Who are the living souls who have had success discharging credit card debts? Hold up your hands. How many? What credit card company? You don't have to tell which credit card company unless you want to.
I have a city bank with about 40 grand.
Huh? Do what?
I said I got my student loans and my which I had on my credit card, which was a city bank for about 40 grand, and they screamed, but I don't care.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. American Express, one lady called out there and she was telling me about it, and she says, "Hey, I'm going to discharge this debt with this bond. What do y'all think about that?" And she said, "Lady, we have so many of these bonds floating around here now, we don't know what to do about it." So what they're telling you is it's confusing them because they can't send them back. What do? If they do anything with them, you can report them to the Treasury and tell them those people are stealing those bonds.
Calvin's got one.
Huh?
Calvin's got one.
Yeah.
I got 6,000 off of Cross Country Bank. I got rid of my $1,000 student loan. I got rid of my wife's reset car. Got rid of credit union, $13,000.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it will work. Put your copyright and your power of attorney to those things with these documents in it, and it will. Who wants to get a bill from you for $1 million? Now they're in the hole. Yes.
The important thing to keep in mind is if you send these bonds in, a lot of times the credit card company or whoever
will still report against your credit. At least that was in my case, and I had to contact the credit bureaus and sent them a copy of it, and they sent me back, "Oh, I'm very sorry," and that was gone. But I mean, this is the one thing that the credit card companies can do with retaliation, is they can lie to the bureaus and tell them this stuff, and it's a way for them to hurt you because you hurt them.
Okay. Do you know how to pull or file the bond on a judgment, cop, and DA? You mean pull his bond, go against his bond?
Yes, sir.
No.
No,
I do not know how. I don't get into those things. You talk to Ken Evans, and Ken Evans might know how to do it, but I don't get into those. I just want them to leave me alone. So I've never gotten into. I did it on some attorneys one time, and they filed a lawsuit against me, and that's when I told the judge. I just wrote the judge, and I said, "Your judgment's not worth too much. I didn't invite you into this, and don't write to me anymore." I just wrote him a letter, and he never heard from them or the attorneys again. And they had to pay this attorney to represent them. When filing a 1041, do you file it as an individual or joint? Individual, since the past 1040s were filed as joint. You're not a trust as a joint. You're a trust as an individual. Use both people, because both of you are set up as a trust. Don't let them join you together like that. That's where they really hurt people, is they give them a little tax break if they'll file jointly. See, then they come after both of you at the same time. All right, that's it. Is there anything? Oh, hold on a second. Yeah. Okay. Let me say one more thing before you leave. Go ahead.
One of my grandsons graduated from Texas last Friday. His friend was down there doing his little vacation money. He said, "Everybody ride for the last man." I said, "Good, so we're saying Texas last
Yeah. Every Tuesday we meet over at Golden Corral. I have never, as long as I've been going over, I forget the Golden Corral every time. But we have a meeting every Tuesday over at the Golden Corral, and the president of the RT, and maybe the vice president will be down here next time. So if you want to come over and hear what's really going on, come over and join. Okay, there's a lot of real interesting things going on. So yes. Yeah, if you got anybody around Longview, tell them they got a meeting down in Longview started now too. First Thursday, 5th Tuesday.
You gave the day, but you didn't give the time.
What?
For the RT.
It's every Tuesday.
At 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock.
Oh, I'm sorry, 7:30. Thank you. Appreciate it. No, I had not this, but these.